a warm, comforting cup of mixed coffee delivers except, and you're going to feel it very well. And guess what? There is more. Introducing the new delicious Mixie Strawberry, a sweet, exciting addition, and one more reason you should love Mixie. Start your day right away and start it with a Mixie. Mixie, channel hot. So, if you are home watching us on a GTV breakfast show this morning, just get that a coffee, the strawberry, or the choco for yourself this morning. Enjoy it with your colleagues. If you're in the office, if you're home to enjoy it with the family as well. Now, let's look at what the top stories in the papers this morning. So the Ghanaian Times newspaper is saying the big one says 25,000 TB cases unreported. Ghana risks missing WHO target. That's Dr. Amenyo saying that over there. And Supreme Court to rule on Pandai election rerun on January 28, 2026. So that's it over there. And Trade Minister visits Abossey Market to engage fair pricing. Yeah, so you can find a story on page 11 of the Ghanaian Times newspaper. So when you purchase it, you find some stories over there. And the Daily Graphic newspaper says Agenda 111 project stall after millions paid. That's 35 contractors ordered to refund $7.9 million US dollars. Contractors ordered to refund $7.9 million US dollars. So that's the big one on the front page of the Daily Graphic newspaper. So when you purchase it, you can find some other stories as well. And the Chronicle newspaper also is saying Nyindam prays Supreme Court quashed the High Court judgment, but Justice Palman questions reliance on Article 99. So that's the MP for Pandai over there. You can find a story on page 2 and 3 of the Chronicle newspaper. So the Daily Guide newspaper too says Pandai rerun challenge, Supreme Court decides January 28, 2025. Yes. And Oforiatta faces immigration judge on January 20, 2026. So you can find a story too on page 3 of the Daily Guide newspaper. And police says 1,613 parcels of narcotic. This story was in our news this morning. So if you watched it, you can find a story. So when you purchase the Daily Guide newspaper, you can find some other stories also in there as well. The Daily Searchlight newspaper says, Frimpong Boateng, I am still in the NPP, rejects disciplinary process, vows to stay. So that's Professor Frimpong Boateng over there. And Pandai election rerun on hold as Supreme Court prepares final decision. So that's over there. The Daily Analyst says, you can't push me out. Frimpong Boateng rubbish NPP dismissal threat. Yes. So that's it. So these are some other news stories you can find in the various newspapers this morning. So if you purchase any of the papers, you can find some top stories in there. But Jay Gabra is already seated with our guest this morning to get the nitty-gritties of the various stories in the papers this morning. Don't go anywhere. Stick with us on the headlines with Jay Gabra.
Dr. Smith, and of course, the Pandai seat controversy. What happens now that the Supreme Court is set to rule come January 28th? A lot happening in the headlines. To help me with the conversation, I've been joined by the Member of Parliament for Bongo, the Honorable Charles Bawuadua. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm okay. And let me say good morning to the various viewers of GTV.
Yes. And we also expected to be joined on the table by Ernest Adade, who is a member of the communications team for the MPP. Yes. Honorable Bawuadua, it's a new year. I haven't seen you the whole of this year. How are you doing?
I'm okay. You know, in the course of the holidays, as a member of parliament, you have to associate with your people. Yeah. So I was in my constituency planning and undertaking projects, organizing the youth in the sporting activities, and attending a lot of social activities, church, funerals and festivals, as it were. So it was quite busy and hectic as a holiday. But of course, if you choose that as a profession, you need to let the people see.
Your people.
Yeah, exactly.
It means you have a lot to make of this this process that the MPP has started to remove Professor Frimpong Boateng from the party. Following the comments he made during that interview on Monday. Because following those comments, the party released a statement yesterday where they said, New Patriotic Party initiates process to expel Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng from the party, and says the New Patriotic Party has taken due notice of comments made by Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng during an interview on Channel 1 TV on Monday, 12 January 2026, in which he described the party as a fake party and further stated that he no longer considers himself a member of the MPP. In the same interview, Professor Frimpong Boateng made additional disparaging remarks about the party and alleged, among other things, that the party's 2023 presidential primary was rigged in favor of His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the MPP's presidential candidate for the 2024 general elections. The party unequivocally rejects Professor Frimpong Boateng's unfortunate characterization of the MPP and firmly denies his baseless and unsubstantiated allegations regarding the conduct of the 2023 presidential primary. The said primary has been widely acknowledged by all candidates who participated, as well as by well-meaning members of the party, as having been conducted in a free, fair, transparent, and credible manner, faithfully reflecting the will of party delegates. The New Patriotic Party views the conduct and utterances of Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng as highly reprehensible and inimical to the values, unity, and integrity of the party. Consequently, the party has invoked the relevant provisions of its constitution to commence the necessary process to expel him from the party, strictly in accordance with due process. And this was signed Justin Kodia Frimpong, who is the General Secretary of the party. It's a new year, a lot is going on. Honorable Charles, what do you make of it?
I know Professor Frimpong Boateng very well. I have followed him for many years. And he is a man of integrity. He's a fearless man, and does not mince his words when he's convinced of a particular position. Frimpong Boateng was one of the best performing ministers when he was Minister for Environment, Science and Technology. And nobody doubts the integrity, belief, strength, and wisdom of Professor Frimpong Boateng. Even when he was at Kolubu as the chief executive, he performed so very well. And I'm surprised that the MPP has that he said those things that he said. But my surprise is rather at the conduct of the New Patriotic Party in this matter. Okay. This is a party who for many years and over a long period have preached that they are people who believe in freedom of speech and expression, the rule of law, constitutionalism, and all those nice expressions that one should find in a democratic state. They have stated that they fit really and perfectly into democracy in this country. What Professor Frimpong Boateng did was a mere expression of his belief and thoughts of the New Patriotic Party as it is currently constituted and run. And he says that, look, the New Patriotic Party that he has known over the years and for which he joined then as a founding member is no longer the same. And that it has metamorphosed into something else which he thinks is fake. This is his view. And for that reason, he is unable to associate expressly with them. Why should this be an issue? Because that is his personal view. Is the New Patriotic Party now saying that members of that party cannot express their opinions? They cannot express their belief?
Or perhaps criticize the party.
Or even criticize the party? You know what? When a group or say a political party is criticized, and so objectively, as Prempeh Boakye has done, it allows you to do an introspect and then see what is it that has happened to the party that key members like Professor Prempeh Boakye are aggrieved. So that you get it right and make the party attractive to the general public. You know, it is not enough to just run a party. It is important that the party is attractive so that many more people can join the party. I mean, the New Patriotic Party in recent times have descended heavily in, on people who express their dissent. You remember when Kennedy Atta Kennedy, wrote his chasing the elephant into the bush. They have descended heavily on him. The same thing they have done to Yahoe Tamakulu. These are key members of the party whose ideas can help reframe this party. And yet you descend on them when they speak their mind. Is it unconstitutional for a person to express his mind? Article 21 of the 1992 Constitution, which we are all running now as the framework that is running this state, allows freedom of expression. So for you to, institute disciplinary proceedings against a very senior member of your party for expressing his opinion, I think it is not the proper way to go. I think they need to look at it. I am sure if they are not careful, the rate at which they descend heavily on people who express diverse opinion, I think party.
So hopefully won't get there. But here's the thing: it's like the kind of comments he made, especially on a public platform like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of, and like the statement rightly says, like disparaging remarks to say the party is fake, and then the elections that people said was fair was all that. It's like it was marred by wrongdoing, bribery allegations, and whatnot. And it's like to sit and say all that publicly. You don't feel there's anything wrong with that. It's like you are watching your dirty linen in public.
No, but these are facts, and the general public needs to know the facts.
You believe they are facts?
They are facts. Nobody is in doubt as to what happened during the NPP primaries when Akufo-Addo and Bawumia was in power. Everybody was whipping. There was money throwing left, right, and center. Everybody knew that. And
so you agree with
it was not a fair process. And many who took part, and especially Kennedy Agyapong, expressed his unhappiness about it, except that he's in the party and he had to, as it were, toe in that line. But he is clear that he was not happy about the way the processes were run. So clearly, Prempeh Boakye expressed the fact. So they ought to accept this fact. And they are coming up with another election. Let us get things done right so that this time people are not aggrieved. Remember that this time, you are no longer in power. You are not going to whip anybody in. So if you are not careful and ensure that there's a transparent election, so that people who lose see and know that they lost fairly, they may end up cracking the party. So let's accept what Prempeh Boakye said. Go into the party and see what are the issues that he has raised. What can we do to get it right this time? I'm sure that if there were nothing to complain about, Prempeh Boakye, being who he is, will not come on air and make the kind of statement that he has.
Yeah, so Honorable Charles, listening to you, it's like you agree with the assertions he made, like there were those allegations that the election was not run fairly and whatnot. But it's like a lot of people agreed it was run in a rightful manner. Nothing really happened. Nothing untoward happened. So for him to say all that happened.
So that is their belief. If you believe that the elections were perfect, there was nothing wrong, he believed that there was something wrong. You have expressed your view. Let him also express his. Why are you suppressing him from expressing his view? You cannot allow that to happen. You have expressed your view. He has also expressed his. It is only fair and just that whoever believes in a certain position, especially in a democratic state, running a political party that claims to be the most democratic, the most constitutional, the most legal, that everybody is allowed to express his opinion and then believe as to what has happened in the party. The object and end result will be that if everybody accepts the situation, they will be able to reframe that party to make it a strong opposition party in this country. We know we need an opposition that is strong, but not one that is in disarray as the NPP currently is.
What a miserable statement. But so then again, you feel perhaps these remarks are a reflection of what happened to the NPP during the 2024 elections, the reasons why they lost the general one?
It is a vivid description of what happened during the primaries of the MPP and the current state of the MPP. No wonder he says it is fake. It is fake because it doesn't represent the MPP as it was founded at the time. So he thinks that he has to utter out this expression, express his frustration, so that they can get the party back to its roots, the beliefs and the fundamental thoughts.
We don't wash our dirty linen in public. Perhaps you could have met the party executives, people within the party he feels are not running things well, and then we have a conversation, start from there, have a conversation with them. If that doesn't work, you try, it doesn't really work, then you come out again. You think perhaps he went through that process, or he just ignored that and just went on there to just blast them?
Look, Professor Frimpong Boateng has a constitutional right to openly express his freedom. Let me say that they make reference to the MPP constitution. Let us not forget that the MPP constitution is a private constitution which does not override the constitution of Ghana. Having weighed both, Professor Frimpong Boateng thought, look, let me rather enjoy my right under the constitution of Ghana rather than going under a subservient constitution. So he did nothing wrong. You may be dissatisfied with his approach, but does not call for disciplinary action.
You think that's too soon?
Exactly. You can meet Professor Boateng. We believe that the way you express your opinion as a senior member, maybe we could have done this and that, but not disciplinary action during the primaries, and then what he believes the current state of the MPP is. I think the MPP has to come again.
So do you think it will go anywhere, this process they've initiated to expel him?
Well, clearly, they have made up their mind to expel this very senior and noble man of Ghana. I listened to the General Secretary of the MPP when he was addressing this issue, and it was clear that they have taken a position. He even said that, ideally he should have written a letter expelling him. But given his position as a senior member, they want to hear from him. So clearly, they have taken a position. So I am not surprised. It will surely happen that Frimpong Boateng is bundled out of the MPP, the same way they did it to Nyahota Mokolo. They will continue to do it to many of them.
But he says nothing can happen to him. He's granted interviews afterwards saying that they can do what they want, but nobody can expel him from the party. Of
course, that is what he thinks the situation will be. But given the conduct and exposure and the kind of approach that the MPP party executive are tracking to this, it is clear that they want him out. Let's hope they go through a due process, in dealing with this issue. Frimpong Boateng did no wrong in my
party and whatnot. You feel it's like their right of, their freedom of speech. So it has nothing to do. Perhaps maybe the party can address it, but
express your views as to approach the person has, expressed his position. But to expel the person because he has exercised his right to freely speak and express himself, I do not think it is constitutional. I'm sure if they do, Frimpong Boateng will be heading to the courts to vindicate his constitutional right to free expression and then freedom of speech.
But what if it's a situation where perhaps the NDC, since that member made those remarks, it's like, we know they are not true. What happens then? It's like, doesn't that call for a valid case that the statement you made, like the MPP is saying, is disparaging? So you need to leave the party if you feel it doesn't align with your values anymore.
No, it's not for anybody to ask somebody to leave the party. He has expressed his view. If you think that the positions that he has taken are not justifiable, engage him. Let him provide you the evidence that he has. You have not even asked for the evidence. You say you will expel him. Is it that you know something that we don't know? Is it that, like you said, there is some dirty linen which is not expressing in the public, which was in hiding? Is it the case? So they should let us. If there is something which they are hiding, for which Frimpong Boateng is now exposing them, they should let us know. Otherwise, expression of an opinion should not be the basis for expulsion from a political party. A party that needs people to win elections. If you keep expelling people, how do you win elections?
So it's for you, the right way to go about this is to have a meeting with him.
Engage Professor Frimpong Boateng. Understand the basis upon which those statements were made. See what good you can make out of those criticisms. Don't go trying to put fear into the other people, serving as a deterrent to others from expressing similar opinions in the future. That is not the right way to run a political party.
Because
They may be in it, but encourage many more people to join the party to enable you win elections.
You think it can lead to some kind of apathy where people may have some contrary opinions, but because of the way things are going, you know what?
That's exactly the point I'm
nobody
making.
will listen.
That's exactly the point I'm making. That if they proceed in the manner that they are proceeding, they are going to suppress, free speech. And this country, we have the elections are always won by the swing voters. You have a certain percentage of Ghanaians who appear to be attracted to the NPP, another percentage which appear to be attracted to the NDC. Then there is this middle group, the floating ones, who are the people who actually crown the political party that wins the election. They decide who wins the election. And this middle class, this middle group, are people who are very objective. You understand? And base their vote and decision based on performance of the government, based on the organization and internal beliefs and actions of the political parties. So if you go expelling people who express a view that you are not happy with as a political party, how do you now convince this middle group, who are a very objective group of persons, to join you and you win election? They may perpetually be in opposition for some time, unless they change their ways.
Thank you for expressing your opinions on that. We're still expecting Ernest Adade, who is a member of the communications team for the NPP, who will join us later on the headlines. But for now, right now I'm listening to Honorable Charles Bawuah, who is a member of parliament for Bongo. Now, the Supreme Court has ruled, saying that they've postponed their ruling, basically considering the Pandai seat, saying the rule in January 28th. So now it's still a situation of, are we going to do a rerun or the results will stay, that kind of thing. So just to give you a gist of what exactly that whole thing is about, this says the legal battle over the Pandai constituency seat remains unresolved as the Supreme Court has rescheduled January 28, 2026 to deliver its judgment on whether to uphold or overturn the annulment of the 2024 parliamentary election results. Now, the ruling follows an application by the New Patriotic Party MP Matthew Nyundam, who is challenging a November 24, 2025 Tamale High Court decision that nullified his victory in the December 7, 2024 polls and ordered a rerun. And so the dispute began when the NDC candidate Daniel Insala petitioned the High Court citing alleged irregularities in the election process. The court upheld the petition and directed the Electoral Commission to conduct a fresh election within 30 days. And however, the Supreme Court in December last year halted preparations for the rerun, pending its review of Nyundam's application seeking to quash the High Court's verdict and legal processes that followed. Now, the outcome of all this will be when the Supreme Court rules in January 28th this month. So you are also sure of a victory come pending the Supreme Court ruling. So I'd like to hear your view on this.
Well, the NDC candidate, Daniel Wapa, has already been victorious at the High Court. And in fact, the election should have been rerun by now, because the Electoral Commission initially set the date for 30th of December for the rerun of the elections. However, the NPP candidate, my friend Matthew Nyundam, filed an application for certiorari to quash, this is a legal expression which means an order of the court to cancel the High Court decision. Yeah. I mean, one key ground which they expressed in that application before the court is the Supreme Court is to the effect that the petition that was filed by the NDC candidate was filed out of time. By law, under the People's Representation Law, PNDC Law 284, an election petition, that is to say, if you want to bring a case concerning elections to court, then you must do so within 21 days after the Electoral Commission has gazetted the results in the National Gazette. Now, the case of the NPP is that the Gazette was done on the 24th of December. The case for the NPDC candidate was filed at the Tamale High Court on the 25th of January, clearly out of 21 days. So they are saying that since the NDC case was filed out of the 21 days, then the court did not have jurisdiction to even determine the matter and to make the orders for a rerun.
And they right?
Good case. But you see, it is not correct that the Gazette notification was only done on the 24th of January. Yes, there was a Gazette notification on the 24th of January, but on the 6th of January, there was a notification on the 24th of December. But on the 6th of January, the Electoral Commission re-gazetted all the results. I am a member of Parliament, and I was sworn in on the 7th of January based on a Gazette notification of the 6th of January. That was the notification that the Clerk of Parliament referred to as the results, the basis upon which we were being sworn in as members of Parliament, including Martin Yinam. So, if there was a notification on the 6th, clearly that will supersede the 24th of December. Because to re-notify, to re-gazette, means that you have done away with the earlier gazette. Otherwise, there will be no need to re-gazette.
Okay.
So, if there was a gazette, a re-gazette on the 6th of January, and you filed an election petition on the 25th of January, you are well within 21 days.
Okay, because of the re-gazette.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, it depends on how the Supreme Court looks at it. But clearly, the NDC case is not out of place. So, if the Supreme Court takes the view that the re-gazette of 6th of January is of no consequence and has no legal effect, then Martin Yinam may have a case. On the other hand, if the Supreme Court takes the view that the re-gazette of the 6th of January constituted a fresh gazette,
So like
for which a person was entitled to now take action thereafter, then of course the MPP's case will be thrown out through the next window. So these are the matters before the court. And I am not surprised that the case was not decided yesterday.
You're not surprised?
Because, yes, I'm not surprised because yesterday was meant for the arguments of the various lawyers. So, lawyer for NPP made their case, lawyer for NDC made their case, and then lawyer for the Electoral Commission also made his case. So it's only fair and just that the court takes a date to consider all the arguments made by the parties, to analyze and evaluate all the evidence before the court, which has come by way of affidavit evidence, so that the court can now make a just and fair decision. So, adjourning the case to 28, 28 is not too far.
Yes.
So let's hope that come the 28th, there will be a decision based on the evidence before the court.
So
let me say that, look, yes, the decision that may come will affect the ultimate decision as to whether or not there will be a rerun based on the orders of the Tamil court, or they may not be. But that decision will not be on the merits of the case. The merits of the case has to deal with whether or not there were election malpractices, irregularities and all that affected the integrity of the entire parliamentary elections in Kwandai constituency.
Right.
That is the basis, that is the merits of the case. So if a court takes the decision that, look, the petition was out of time and told the court has no jurisdiction, it would deprive us of the benefit of getting to know the merits of this case.
So what if the Supreme Court rules that there should be no rerun? Are you going to appeal the decision then?
No, it's a Supreme Court decision. It's final, unless you can apply for review.
Yeah.
But hardly do people, go on review, especially if it becomes a unanimous decision of the Supreme Court. But let me say that the NDC is a law-abiding party.
So you'll stick with that decision?
We will respect the decision of the Supreme Court of Ghana.
But then again, too, it doesn't answer your questions about the irregularities and whatnot.
Exactly, it doesn't, but that is the law.
That's the law.
The law sometimes deprives you of getting to know the true stakes, the true facts of what happened. Because if the court now can say, oh, your petition was out of time. How about the merits? How do we know whether there were election irregularities, malpractices, and that the election had lost its integrity. You understand?
Yeah, I understand.
But
Come January 28th, we'll find out. Eric, and the Saturday had an emergency, so we have the Deputy General Secretary of the NPP, who is in the person of Mr. Haruna Mohammed, on the line to speak to us concerning the process they started to expel Professor Frimpong Boateng. We're going back to the first topic that we had. Mr. Mohammed, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning.
Yes, how are you doing today?
I can hear you.
How are you doing today?
I can hear you.
How are you doing today, sir?
I am doing fine.
You are doing fine. Yes, now the party has started a process to expel Professor Frimpong Boateng following the comments he made during the interview on Monday. And it's like they're calling the party fake, saying the flag elections that were held were not regulatory and whatnot. A lot of remarks that he made, that in a statement the party released, he says are disparaging. My guest here, Honorable Charles, says the MPP is jumping the gun, starting the process to expel them. What do you make of all this?
I've not heard all about the question, but the substance of the question is basically on what Mr. Frimpong Boateng, Professor Frimpong Boateng has said.
Yes.
And then the party's decision to expel him based on his commentary of the party being fake and he himself considering himself not to be a member of the party again. I believe that the party is a national party. The party is not a fake party. The party is not a virtual party. So if he so deems that he belongs to a party that is virtual, and he also wishes that and says that he doesn't believe that he's still a member of the party, then we just have to grant him his wish and then let him be. So the party will take a decision on him based on the direction that is given by the General Secretary of the party.
So you don't believe the party is jumping the gun, like in trying to expel him? What if it's like he's exercising his free speech, his right to free speech?
His right to free speech is in the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. There is a limitation as to how you also speak when you are with a certain organization. So for him, he knows very well that as an elderly person who has been with this party for some time now, knows that there is a limitation as to how you describe the party. That is what we call misconduct. And you don't need to trigger that issue of misconduct. You have to portray the party's name in a good in the public, and this is not what he has just done as a member of the party that he should be. So I don't think that we consider this to be a very good aspect of communication for the party. It's very distasteful, and it's considered as a misconduct.
So before he granted the interview, were you aware about his point of view concerning some of these issues? Perhaps were there avenues for him to speak with party executives before he went on there to make those remarks?
He did not speak with anybody. Nobody. Because before you called me for this interview, I didn't know the questions you are going to ask me until you are asking me this. So he did not avail himself to any of the internal procedures. And he went and spoke his mind. And mind you, your output is an input to somebody's work. Where your right is where somebody's responsibility begins. And that is important for all of us to know. We are a party that rules and regulations, and if you flout any of them,
Professor Frimpong Boateng from the party.
It won't take any long at all. It won't take any long at all. The National Executive Committee will take a decision on that, and the General Secretary will issue a statement on it.
Okay. Mr. Haruna, so what about those who feel perhaps the party is jumping the gun, they are not allowing people to express themselves freely, perhaps the party is coming down harshly on them? Does that not give avenue perhaps to like swing voters, for instance, who may be watching the party be like, oh, perhaps if this was happening, they are not going to, vote for the MPP?
There are structures within the party, from the polling station, electoral area, to the constituency, the regional, external branches, national. There are avenues for the party, for people, the structures, to be able to express their views internally to get them resolved. And every member of the party is aware of these particular structures. So those who want to bend and giving the and we set up the Professor Matupe's committee. Many people appeared before it and vented their grievances with regards to why we lost the election. All of them have been documented. They are also on record, of which the party will store them as archives for future references. So the door is open for every member of the party to express his views in terms of how we feel about the party within the internal structure. So it's not closed, it's open.
So if the door is open, is there a chance you may still speak with Professor Frimpong Boateng before?
We did not use any of the structures. The media is not one of our structures. And then also the tone that he used is not a tone that is supposed to be used by a national party such as the MPP. And I don't see why you sit with Professor Frimpong Boateng and he said the party is fake. Why do you want to remain in a fake party? And also he also confirmed that he considered himself not to be a member of the party any longer. So what at all are we going to do with him? And our party's constitution is clear. If you go and read Article 391, the new constitution, as amended, you will see it. And then if you go and read the function of the executive committee under the disciplinary committee of Article 4, rules, party of rules, once you have the right to free speech, your speech must be censored and must not infringe on the right of the constitution of the party.
Okay, so Aruna, so now that you started this process, there's no chance the party will still sit with Professor Frimpong Boateng and then, maybe try to trash these issues out?
Unless, of course, he comes out, no. Enough is enough.
But he's granted other interviews in the press where it says the party can't expel him from, the party cannot expel him.
So let's wait and see whether the party can expel him or the party cannot.
Okay. One of the headlines on newspapers this morning, I think, was the Daily Searchlight or so, says...
Because I saw that Yahoo Tamakulu said that nobody can expel Frimpong Boateng. But he himself, Yahoo Tamakulu, has been a suspended member since January 3rd, 2016 by the Ismail Aisse-led administration until 14th October 2023, when he himself personally came out and said he's no longer a member of the party. So that is it. So he himself is not even a member of the party. Not to talk about telling us that he cannot expel Professor Frimpong Boateng.
Okay. So since we have you on that, I want you to quash that assertion that the party doesn't support people who doesn't support freedom of speech.
Which freedom of speech? The party believes in the rule of law. Every freedom of speech has its own limitations. Come out and say something that is nasty about the president of the leadership on the freedom of speech. You don't speak anyhow. You can't come out and say that Ghana is fake and you still be in Ghana. It doesn't align. So I don't think that the party is against freedom of speech. Your speech must be censored so that responsibility must be carried through the speech. You can speak, but you must speak responsibly.
So it was a Herald newspaper where he said to hell with them. That's referring to the party. Yes, to hell with them for Frimpong Boateng slams MPP executives over expulsion move.
Well, he's an elderly person. I will not respond to him whether he should be held to him. He has made his mind to use that, choose those particular words, and I leave those words to sit very well with him.
Okay, so please stay on the line. I'll come back to you concerning the Pandai. Now that the Supreme Court has ruled that they will give their ruling on January 28th, I just want to speak to Honorable Charles to what he makes of your comments thus far. Yes.
So you have already made the case that, look, this for me is an MPP internal matter. But we are all Ghanaians. We work and operate by law. Like the Deputy General Secretary just said, the MPP operates by the rule of law. Which law? The highest law of Ghana is the Constitution. This person has a right under the Constitution of Ghana to freely express himself, which he has. You may disagree with. Why will you subject him to proceedings with the objective of expelling him? So you see, just as the General Secretary said, and the Deputy General Secretary is now confirming, it appears that a decision has already been taken by the party to expel him. And so you hear him say, let us wait and see.
No, but it's like, based on what he says, it's like he didn't speak to any of them before, and it's like we have the rule of law, like you're rightly saying, exactly. the one that for the country. So, but also it's like like I keep saying, it's like you're washing your dirty linen in public. If you have problems, speak to the people first before you go out there.
The constitution
You don't give them an idea and then you just make these remarks.
The constitution of the NPP is not superior to the constitution of Ghana.
But he wasn't fair to the party. You think he was fair to the party?
I think that he expressed his personal opinion. The party may not be happy with it, but it should not call for the expulsion.
Okay.
There may be some other internal ways of dealing with it. But to expel a person from a political party is such a very serious matter, especially when that person professes to be expressing his right and, under the constitution of Ghana.
The NPP also has a constitution. Maybe he violated some conduct, like the general secretary said. Once he did that, then they have to also take steps to manage the situation.
Well, so it's up to the NPP.
Okay.
If that is what to inure to the benefit of the party as a whole, let them take that decision.
Okay. So, Mr. Mohammed, you are still with us?
Yes, I will still with you.
Okay. So we're moving. Do you have anything to say based on what Honorable Charles Bawodwa said, or we can move on to the Supreme Court?
Actually, I was straining to hear because of the volume. The pace in what he was saying, so I actually did not hear anything.
Okay. He feels the expulsion is an extreme move. It's once somebody's exercising their right to free speech.
That is his view, and I cannot take it away from him.
Okay.
It's part of it, one of them. So that is why it's in our party constitution. Remember, this is not the first time that Professor Kwame has been speaking, and prior elections, what has went on. This is a very, very heavy speech that he has made, and the party deemed it necessary to take action. We don't write constitutions and just put it down. We write them and then for application. And that's why we appointed a specific provision in the party's constitution, where we need to expel people who speak. You cannot describe the media as weak and still want to continue to be there. If I were Professor Kwame, I would have figured out the right way.
Okay. All right. So now speaking about the Pandai seat, there's been a lot of controversy, and now the count January 28th. What are your expectations for the Supreme Court ruling?
I think we believe in the rule of law. The MPP has always stayed fidelity to the law, and we have sent our case to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has heard us and has set the date on 28th of January to rule on the matter. So what we will do as a party is that we will wait on the Supreme Court to take a decision on that matter. We know that our case is very firm. We've made cogent legal reasons for why such a decision of the High Court should be passed, and we've indicated the legal point in terms of case laws. And the Supreme Court, I was there. It was very lovely. We all had a very good presentation in court, and I would not sound prejudicial on this particular matter because the Supreme Court will be making a decision on that matter. And once we have sent the matter to the Supreme Court, I will not make further commentary on that until the Supreme Court comes up with their judgments.
But you're expecting a ruling in your favor, though?
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah. So we are moving on to the ICE detention of the former finance minister. And the U.S. ambassador, Mr. Victor Smith, says he was medically fit to be under detention. He's also going back to face the judge January 20th in the U.S. of A, of course. But now it's like the OSP has professed some charges for the former finance minister, and it's like he didn't come back because of his ill health. But ICE has also determined he's medically fit. So it's like two schools of thought on the public. It's caused this debate in the whole public arena. And what are your thoughts on that, Mr. Aruna?
Well, the tax that is available to the U.S. ambassador and whoever said is medical fit is not available to me. And the last time I checked, the U.S. ambassador is not a medical officer, and he has no reason to use a medical document as evidence as a Ghanaian back to what he said. So for me, Ken Ofori-Atta is being persecuted, and whatever matter that is and the charges that is put against Ken Ofori-Atta, I believe that his legal nurses will deal with those particular matters as and when it comes up. So for me, I think that the Boyata has the right to legal representation, whether he's present or he's not. And he's not legally bound not to say that he will not come. In his absence, the court can proceed if they have clear evidence to prosecute him. And I don't see why he should be belaboring on this particular point.
Okay, so so the news from the media outlet says Ghana's ambassador to the U.S. has confirmed that immigration authorities conducted medical evaluations before detaining the former finance minister Ken Ofori-Atta at a Virginia facility last week. The ambassador Victor Smith told the media that United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement arranged for qualified medical personnel to assess whether the former minister could safely remain in custody. The examination determined Mr. Ofori-Atta was medically fit for detention despite ongoing health concerns that brought him to America. The ambassador explained that the professional medical staff, rather than ICE officers themselves, conducted the assessment, and he noted that this evaluation happened shortly after Mr. Ofori-Atta's arrest on January 6, 2026 in the Virginia area.
Yes, this is a reported evaluation because from what we read, it means that not even Victor Smith who conducted the medical test, not the ambassador, not even the Ghana ambassador has commissioned such an information. So it's a reported one, which myself and you doesn't have the data or the information that they have. So if that is what they are saying, whether he's fit for detention or he's fit for what, he also has the right not to appear, and Ghana can still go ahead and prosecute him if they think that there is available evidence to prosecute him in absentia. These are matters that have happened in this country before. Sedina refused to come. She was tried, and then she has been sentenced. Up to the nobody is making even.
Honorable Charles, will you take on this matter?
Well, I think this matter is being on for some time now. I thought that Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta would have submitted himself to the laws of Ghana, returned for whatever trial is to be done, so that we can get to the bottom of whether or not the facts.
Sorry about that.
As to whether or not the facts and allegations have made against him have any merit. But he has chosen to stay away. Remind you that he was in the U.S. stating that he's there on medical grounds, and for which reason he is unable, because of his medical condition, to come to Ghana. Then on one leg, they say that he is being persecuted and that he will not have a fair trial if he comes to Ghana. So which is which? Is it because of the health condition for which he cannot come, or his unfounded belief that he is being persecuted and for which he will not come? Whatever the case is, look, this is somebody who handled the resources of Ghana, who handled the funds of Ghana, who managed the money that belonged to Ghana. And now he's being called upon to account with specific allegations of wrongdoing, and he stays away. The U.S. authorities have no personal interest in his case. They will not arrest him and then detain him if they think that he's not medically fit. They will not detain him without a medical check, especially given that he was there on medical grounds. The U.S. is a very serious country. And the ambassador will not, out of nothing, tell Ghanaians that there has been a medical examination and the result is that he is fit, medically fit. No. When that did not exist, the ambassador never said that. So clearly, there is really no basis for the Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta to resist his return to Ghana.
I feel he's resisting. It's like he went there on medical grounds, and the ambassador confirmed that. It's like he's still going through the process. He's still going through care and all that.
Yeah,
but the examiner said he's medically fit. Maybe he's medically fit for the immigration process over there, but maybe coming down to Ghana, maybe that may be a problem.
No, it cannot be. If he can be detained in the U.S., without any medical consideration, which would have prevented that from happening, why can he not come and answer? Why not? I mean, there are many people who go through procedures in respect of the charges that have been preferred.
No, but you see,
it is not a good example for the MPP to say that a very senior member of the MPP, every resource that was in this country, is now being questioned about the manner in which he managed those resources, and he is not ready to come.
Yeah, but
See the arrest, the way he was arrested. I mean, this is not good in the public eye and in the eyes of the MPP.
I think there were visceral concerns and all that. And it's like, I believe the case they are making is the fact that even though he's gone there on medical grounds, it's like you're still, the OSP is still after him despite all that. Maybe that's why they feel he's being persecuted, because maybe because of that you should have considered before saying, you know what, just calm down and let's face your child and whatnot.
Where is the persecution? When specific allegations have been made against you, that gives you the opportunity to come and say, look, this and this and this are not true, and these facts, and the political party which you belong to.
But, you know, like Haruna Mohammed rightly said, it's like Sedinam was trialed in absentia. So why perhaps can't we do the same for the former finance minister? It's like we have a case against him. So let's just go ahead, even though it's not yet. Whatever the results may be, then it applies to him, whether he be in the US, UK, wherever he is.
No, it's a question of choice.
It's a question of choice.
It is that Attorney General who tried him as absentia, that is his choice. You have another Attorney General who thinks that the matter will be properly dealt with and more efficaciously if the person is present. What prevents him from coming? Why do you want to be tried in absentia? I mean,
no, they're saying we should consider that.
No, we will not consider that, because it is, even though that one is used sparingly. Trying somebody in absentia is used sparingly. Why would you, even the person who is being tried, why would you want to be tried in absentia? Don't you want to come and state your case? If allegations have been made against you and they are trying you in a court, and you have the freedom and right to come and appear before the court and also state your position, you say, no, try me in absentia. Why should you be tried in absentia?
Mr. Haruna Mohammed, just before we go, any final thoughts from you? Mr. Mohammed, that was the Deputy General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party. He was on the line with us. I believe we lost him, but he shared his opinions with us concerning views with us this morning, and I'll take your final summations on any of the subjects we had so far in about a minute, and then we can wrap up.
Yeah, so let me say that, look, this kind of Oriata attempt is not, giving the MPP a good image. At the commencement of this segment, I made the case that, look, it is important that the MPP is properly organized to serve as a proper opposition to the NDC party. That way, governance will be more effective, governance will be taken more seriously, and it will check corruption and other matters. You understand? So if they are in disarray, it will not help us. The image that Ken Ofori-Atta represents for the MPP is a very bad one. And I would advise that he comes to answer the charges, how he used the public funds, whether the allegations against him are true or not. And that will serve his party better than running away. You remember?
You believe he's running away?
Yeah, of course, he's running away. The OSP has described him as a fugitive. A fugitive is somebody who has run away from justice. And you see, even when they are trying to bring him back to us, he's resisting it.
Anyway, so we have to go. Thank you so much, Honorable Charles Bawdua, who is a member of Parliament for Bongo. We were also expecting Ernest Alade, who is a member of the MPP communications team, but he had an emergency. So we are joined on the phone lines by Mr. Haruna Mohammed, who is the Deputy General Secretary for the MPP. This has been the headline segment. We have some birthday dedications, a conversation with Sticker, and a lot more on GTV Breakfast. Stay with us.